Call this meeting of the Lakeview Town Council on this Tuesday, August 22nd to order. I'd like to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
I so move.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? And we have any guest speakers or communications, informational items, public comment, I guess? Can we group it all
Is it public
together?
comment already?
Yes.
So I'd like to
Okay.
do that.
All right, well, my name is Barbara Robison, 18661 Tunnel Hill Road, Lakeview. And I have come to do a shout out for two groups. This weekend, we had the eclipse thing on Saturday, and Jamie Davis and all of her volunteers were involved with that at the fairgrounds. And I decided, you know, right before it was supposed to take place, that I didn't want to be alone by myself to witness this. I wanted to be with people, so I went over there, and there was about 400 people who showed up. And what was so wonderful was I got to view it through the children's eyes, and it was just a really wonderful experience. And I just wanted to thank Jamie and I'm sure all of her volunteers for putting this on. It kind of made me feel like I was with family. And I think that's what people need to know about Lakeview, that we are a family and we help each other out and we get together and we have fun, because I just had a blast. And my other shout out is for the triathlon. And I am kind of wearing my shirt that I got. And I would like to thank Kendra Holderman and her group of people. They had so many volunteers. And also, what was so wonderful was the amount of children that came and did the triathlon. So we have some future athletes coming down the line, because these nice people are putting this on and setting a good example. And I was very proud to be a participant. I had Kara Albertson as my she was my bicyclist, and I had Paul Lindsley as my runner, and they did a fantastic job. Now, when Kara was doing her bicycling, her chain fell off, and one of the boys that was riding along stopped. And now he was in the race. He was in the race to win, right? He stopped and helped her put the chain on. And you know, that is an example of why we all live in Lakeview, to my, my feeling. And Paul, I was just so proud of him. I didn't realize he was such a good runner. I mean, he passed 4 people when he was coming into the the finish line, thanks. Yeah, the finish line. And our objective, our team, was to, number 1, finish the race, number 2, have fun, and number 3 was, I told him to beat one other team so we wouldn't come in last. Our goal was not real high, our goals were, and guess what? We came in 3rd place! Woohoo! And that's pretty good for a 73-year-old and a 17-year-old and a 16-year-old. And I just wanted to let you know that because of all these wonderful events going on, I had a fantastic weekend. And that's what it's all about, living in Lakeview. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson, for sharing that with us. Any other comments? Steve, did you have anything for the prison?
I could make an announcement if it's all right. So on Tuesday, September 19th, we're gonna have an all-day recruiting event at Warren Creek Correctional Facility. Primarily, it will be for correctional officers and correctional nursing positions. For a correctional officer position, you'll be able to come out there, you'll be able to take the pre-employment test, apply for a job, get interviewed for a job, and if you're selected, moved on to the background investigation part of the process, which takes up to 45 days to complete. But normally those things can take up to months to complete. We'll get them all done in one day.
Wow.
Also on Friday, September 15th, I believe it is, KCC will be offering the pre-employment test that you need to take to be a correctional officer. They have Cheryl Anero is a proctor for the NTN test, is what they call it. So if you wanted to get anybody wants to get a leg up, they can take the test on Friday. To get that out of the way, they come to the institution on Tuesday the 19th, and they can apply for an officer position, get interviewed, and if selected, move towards the background, forward to the background investigation. So we're excited about it. We'll have several positions to fill, and we have several nursing positions we also need to fill. So they'll be advertising on the radio and in the newspaper. And if you guys know of anybody interested, please let them know to contact us. We appreciate it.
How many nursing positions do you have at the facility?
I believe there's 6.5 total. 6
Really?
full-time permanent and 1 half-time position.
Oh, okay.
Just at Warren Creek?
Just at Warren Creek.
Wow.
Yep. And we have a dentist that's part-time here, part-time at Deer Ridge and Madras. Office specialist position, manager position, dental assistant position out there. Yeah, well, I have 490 men living out there, so a lot of.
So you're really expanding your crew, or?
No, that's the way it's been since I've been here. You mean as far as the adults in custody or the staff?
Well, no,
Sharon?
I think, we know what those in custody, but it seems to me like you haven't had this many to hire, but you've had some freezes on your hiring in the
We
past.
have, we have.
Now that's off and you're able to
Yes,
bring yourself up to where you need to be, is
That's
that
right.
the plan? I see.
yep, yep.
What's the date on that again, Steve?
Tuesday, September 19th.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll be in the newspaper the 2 Wednesdays prior, and there should be some radio announcements, so we're looking forward to it. Thanks for
Sharing that.
Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments? Okay, we have a public hearing on our agenda for today, and so I'll open this public hearing. And it's lastly, investments, Town of Lakeview Comprehensive Plan and Town of Lakeview Development Code, Chapter 2.1, Residential District, 2.2.180, Highway Commercial Subdistrict, 4.1, 600, Type 4 Procedure, and 4.7 Land Use District Map and Text Amendments for a zone change. And we needed to see if there is any public comment in regards to this matter. No comments? Okay, do we have a motion to perhaps continue this? Or are there any comments by the council on this, or?
I don't have any comments, but I would make a motion that the hearing be continued until September 26, 2017 at 4 p.m.
You got a second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll close the hearing and have a continuation. And under old business, we have no items. Under new business resolution number 910, this is what Don gave us. The change order number 4, Head Start. And I see Daryl's here, maybe he wants to share something with us. I don't know, Daryl, do you, or do you have?
Just in time.
There you go.
Head Start is, they pretty well moved in.
Already into the facility.
Yeah, we had some issues there finishing up some things, but we got some action after some little tense moments. But anyway, they're moved in. This change order deals with some topsoil that Head Start bought themselves, and we had to have a contractor spread it. I think there's $2,500 or $2,200 or something there for that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I said. And I believe it was $1,400 versus some plumbing issues we had to work out in the mechanical room due to the third time go around. That was the easiest way to solve it. So, Mary Baker from IFA has approved it, so this'll be it. That comes out of IFA funds. And we're going to be closing out that grant here first of the month, so that project will be over.
About to reach its.
Yeah,
You mean we still have money left?
we still have money left. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
After all the change orders, I would have bet we were deeply in debt.
Well, we didn't have that many change orders.
Well, it seemed like they wanted more money every time we looked at
Yeah, we
it.
had some issues, but only 4, and we were still well under, I have to look at the percentages, but I think the percentages was
I
under
think
5%.
so we're okay
Yeah,
then.
we're okay.
Have they got did they get their occupancy?
Yes,
And so we're okay. They're ready for students to come in?
they're,
Clients, personnel,
Yes,
whatever we
they-
call them?
they're ready for students to come in. They still got, I was in there today because the air conditioning didn't work. That's not what I said. But anyway, somehow the freeze alarm, there's a freeze alarm, there's a smoke alarm on the heating air conditioning system, so if the coils freeze or something, it shuts it down. The smoke alarm, I don't know what, I don't know
Really
what.
heard.
But anyway, we got it back going. So, but they still have a lot of, they got all of their
All this
items just stacked around.
Yeah.
I would think they'll be ready to open,
mid-month, didn't they say?
I don't know when they open.
I don't know, I don't
I'm not
know when it's
I can't either. I thought, it wasn't when school started, it was later than when school starts, so but I don't remember either, but they should throw a really nice self-congratulatory party when they finally get all this worked out, and you should be there.
If you have a chance, go by.
I've gone by and looked, from the outside and everything, but they still had, it looked like they had a lot of work to do outside.
They do, and there's still going to be a lot of work
Yeah.
to do outside. We dropped the landscaping, that was one of the things we cut. So there's a lot of work to do outside. That's something they're gonna have to work at as
They
they
have to do,
But
A
just
little at a
cleaning
time.
it up and leveling it off and making it, be not quite so, such a disaster would be nice, because I can see kids falling in some of those cement holes.
Oh, yeah. Well, they do have some more topsoil
Do
coming
they?
from, that they bought themselves, so that might take care of the front planters. Those
Are they
ones.
gonna have an open house in the foreseeable future, do you know?
I don't know. It would be a nice idea.
I think it would be a nice
Yeah.
thing.
Because it's a nice facility.
Yes, it looks like it from the outside, but in spite of all the problems.
I'm glad to hear they're almost there.
Bill, do you remember how many square feet that building is? Your head?
I want to say 3,800.
Yeah, I was thinking it was
But-
like 4.
It's double or triple what they had.
Yeah, it's much.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the kitchen is a nicer kitchen than the hospital had. Yeah, stop by.
Yeah, I'd like-
Cool, yeah, I'd like to see it too.
For sure. Resolution number 910, does anyone else have any comments on it or questions?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 910 in the matter of the CDBG grant, change order number 4 for Head Start.
I'll second.
The first and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, or resolution passes. All right. Next is mayor council updates. And I would just start out by turning to Don first and saying our prayers have been with your father, and we miss the fact that he's not here
Thank you.
as mayor today, and maybe you could fill us in on the latest status, Don.
I talked to Mom a couple hours ago, and He's out of ICU. He is on the 5th floor now, and they did a procedure last night on him and scoped him, and they found a blood clot and was able to remove that. And they cut 2 holes, one on each side of his collarbone, to relieve the air because his face filled up with air from the impact of the accident. And he sat up and is sitting in the chair this afternoon, and was absolutely starving, he said. So that was a plus.
Good signs, huh?
Yes, so.
Good pain
And he's
medicine.
drinking, yeah, drinking plenty of fluids. It's gonna be a long recovery. He does have 6 broken ribs, 2 of them are by his spine, so they do have a pain pump in him.
And you said too that they were having some kind of taste in it.
They were going to,
They
but
didn't?
no, they decided not to because his bottom lung is collapsed, and it could cause pneumonia if they wrap it because it traps it in there. So what they're going to do is just let it freely sit there, and he's just gonna have to do what he's told, or he's gonna end up back in there and in a lot worse shape. So.
And those ribs are just floating around in there.
Basically, they're just kind of hanging on. They're, one of them, they were gonna try and remove the bottom part of the lung, but they can't because it's grown into the rib, so it's connected. So he's got a lot of scarring, and a lot of that is due from his asthma too, because he really doesn't have the greatest lungs, and he never has. So, but like Mom said, the asthma that they can treat now is different from when he was a kid, and his lungs have never been good since he was little, so. He just has a long recovery, he's gonna have to take better care of himself.
Is Friday still a possibility for him coming
Possibly,
home?
yep, they said if he can stay out of where he's at, or where he was, then they will let him come home, but with restrictions, so he's just gonna have to.
Have we sent flowers or a card or anything?
No, not yet,
We need to, right?
I think we should do that, yeah.
I will get that done tomorrow. Absolutely.
Thanks for the report, and
Yep.
prayers and thoughts be with you and the family.
No problem, thank
Wish him a
you.
speedy recovery.
Me too, I'm ready for him to be home.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't have any announcements. Just wanted to
Chamber has been very busy with the whole eclipse thing. Plus, they've taken a whole lot of abuse from several people, most of them from out of town. As one man put it, he had driven 800 miles and they didn't have glasses for him. And he was highly insulted and, excuse the expression, pissed off that we did not have glasses for him after he traveled that far. And I thought, why would you come that far without the glasses? You know, I mean, especially if you're coming to a town you know there isn't a Walmart or something. So they've taken a lot of flack about it. And even at that, I think they have provided well over 500 pair of glasses for visitors and for townspeople and stuff. And 5 minutes before the eclipse started, there were still people looking for
Looking
them.
for left.
And this one man said, what am I going to do? And I said, you're going to go over to the Eagle's Nest, you're going to buy yourself something to drink or a sandwich for later, and you're going to get a free pair. He said, really? And so he did. So I thought there was a lot of community support, and I thought that our director did a really great job of promoting it and getting, like, several of the businesses had eclipse specials, and we had an awful lot of visitors through. I know one day, 2 or 3 days before the eclipse, the Happy Horse reported that they had at least 30 people, visitors, who stopped there to eat. So we know that some of them, and we certainly know the gas stations did well. So I think that happened. Just as kind of a side note, the 20th, 4 people and a dog from California drove into Barb Simpson's fence next to her house and between her house and the Head Start. Older man who decided, I guess, to take a nap, Or it was hot, it was about 4 o'clock, and that's a drowsy time when you're in a car and there's the sun coming in. And anyway, he just took half of Barb's tree off and sat in front of her house and hit that. And nicest people in the world. I think the community that served him, and first of all, they had a sheriff's there. I was walking out the door after I heard the noise, and the sheriff's car was on patrol, came right up within minutes of the accident. We had emergency service personnel there almost immediately. There's a lady who lives 3 houses down, she ran down. A neighbor jumped over the fence in the back and came over and helped and undid a propane tank that was leaking from the accident. We had people all over the place helping these wonderful people, and they had no transportation, they had nothing. We got them rooms at the motel. Barb took them around and got things they needed. I drove them around to get stuff out of their camper after it was hauled off. The capper was, one woman had to go to the hospital, and they said, well, we're worried about how we're going to get to the motel. We don't have any transportation. And Dr. Gallagher says, oh, that's not a problem, take my car. So these people have no idea what happened was a tragedy in the sense that nobody was hurt seriously at all. But for them to be welcomed by the town and taken care of and their needs met, they said, you know, actually, this is a better story than watching the clips in Bend with 100,000 other people. So I think Lakeview made some good vibes there. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting story because we like to hear when nice things happen to people in Lakeview.
Nothing nice to report. I had a heck of a time getting back out of my driveway.
I can imagine that.
And yesterday I was watching the traffic going south. Now, one of the cars were going 25 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Well, they were clearing on, heading
They
south.
were heading
weren't they?
south.
Yeah, they were.
Fast and furious.
I had trouble getting across the street on my morning walk, and I 4 or 5 cars going both way from California, and all of a sudden 6 motorcycle guys come up and they all
They stopped
stopped.
for you.
So we all waved and they said, have a nice day, and off they went, but none of the California cars stopped, I gotta tell you.
My only comment is on Thursday, this last week, I was appointed to the Klamath Lake Regional Housing Center Board of Directors. Position that had a couple vacancies, and so I was asked that I get on that board with a little bit of the housing authority background that I have. And this group's mission statements, I'll just read it here, is their Klamath Lake Regional Housing Center, doing business as Klamath Lake Center for Community Renewal, exists to provide resources and expertise to the residents of Klamath and Lake counties through economic development, community revitalization, and community sustainability. So it's called the Housing Authority, but we're likely going to, officially change the name, but to more focus on renewal, which will provide grants and other funding sources to businesses or homeowners trying to fix up the communities. So it's a board that maybe overlaps with other agencies, some of the work that they're doing. So we're going to try to narrow it down and focus, see what our niche can be to help provide
Maybe
opportunities.
sidewalks and tree trimming.
Some of this stuff too, it's CDBG grant stuff that needs to be a funneled source. So we're actually staffed by by Betty Riley and her team with COVID. So
Cool.
anyways,
It's gonna be a nice connection.
So how often does it meet?
it's probably going to meet quarterly.
Quarterly.
They hadn't met for some time since they were short a few board members.
Yeah.
We've got some work ahead of us too.
Yeah, that's nice.
I'm excited to be on there. Commissioner Shown is also on there. I have the list of participants on here, but misplaced it. So Anyways, I'm excited to be on there, and it may lead to what we talked about before, is we trying to get on the Climate Housing Authority, which also services our communities, so.
Will keep us informed.
Yep,
how it
good, for sure.
transitions.
That's
Yep.
great.
You bet. Any other comments? Any other business? I don't believe there is. So-
Did you guys get
The proclamation.
Yeah, you wanna do it in his behalf?
was that already done? I think that was,
Was it?
I don't know. Because I don't know if you were.
It's a very last page.
If you wanna approve it first and then,
We don't have to approve it,
Just
the
in case,
proclamation
okay.
doesn't have to be approved. It just really needs to be signed.
Should be, okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
and published.
So
Can you take
are you
that?
gonna retype it for?
Yeah,
Or,
I'll get that done.
or will your father be back in time?
No, I'll just have you sign it. I'll just
Okay,
retype it and then bring it by you tomorrow, if that's okay.
Or I can swing by, whatever, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine, all right.
And then, did you guys get the letter that?
Yes, we did.
I got the letter,
I just want to make sure.
assuming staff's gonna take care of it, at least addressed it if it's more than 24 hours, which is, I can't quote our ordinance, but I'm sure we have
What is-
something
Well, I
in
have a
place.
copy of the ordinance for you, or the sign laws for everybody, so.
Yeah, well, there's something.
It is kind of a problem, but it's not on the agenda, so we don't, just can't discuss it.
She just brought it in today, but I still thought I'd stick it in.
Yeah, good.
Okay, with no other business,